Namaste everyone. I would like to start with a prayer. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Sri Gurue Namaha. Narayanam Namaskritya, Naranchaiva Narottamam, Devim Saraswatim Vyasam, Tato Jayam Udirayet. I am Sairaj Kiran Nagbodh, Director of Rishi Vatika. Pranamas to Shri Virendra Qazi ji, the speaker of the day, and to all enthusiasts who have joined us live on the Rishi Vatika YouTube channel today. Welcome to Dr. Vedavyasa Memorial Online Lecture Series being conducted by International Institute of Vedic Sciences, Rishi Vatika, and promoted by Vedavyasa Bharati Trust, USKFI, and Yoga Brotherhood of America with blessings of our Puja Guruji, Dr. Vedavyasa. Today's lecture is an interesting topic about Kashmiri Shaivism that is based on the ancient wisdom of Agamas. In today's talk, Shri Virendra Qazi ji offers an unique perspective on Kashmiri Shaivism and how it is universal, how it is a universal spirituality that opens door for self-realization. It takes us to the highest level of divine realization while guiding us towards a harmonious material life. Before we start, I would like to briefly introduce Rishi Vatika. Rishi Vatika is a township with about 50 acres of green land near Madanapalli in Chittoor district of Andhra Pradesh. It is a campus. It is the campus that hosts International Institute of Vedic Sciences, which has been established for the scientific and spiritual evolution of mankind. IIVS primarily focuses on Vedic education, research in Vedic sciences, promotion of Sanskrit, Ayurveda, medicinal plants, planetary study, rural development, as well as environment preservation and some green earth projects. Rishi Vatika houses a Gurukul with about 60 students and a Goshala with about 30 cows. It is jointly promoted by Vedavyasa Bharati Trust, USKFI, and Yoga Brotherhood of America. I would like to briefly introduce the speaker of the day. Shri Virendra Qazi ji is a world-renowned Kashmiri Pandit based in Delhi and a practitioner of Kashmiri Shaivism. He presents the traditional knowledge and practice of Kashmir Shaivism. Since childhood, many sages and saints have graced him towards a divine path. His first sadhana was from Param Shaive Yogini Lalleshwari ji. Her vakhs convey the essence of Shaiva Agamas. He has worked on her oral teachings and spread the wisdom worldwide. He has given numerous talks all over the world and has been recognized through various channels. I would hand over the dais to Shri Virendra Qazi ji for the conversation.
Jai Guruji. Om Maya Kundalani Kriya Madhumati Kali Kala Malani Matangi Vidya Jaya Bhagavati Devi Shiva Shambhavi Shakti Shankar Vallabha Trinaina Vagvagdani Bhairavi Deepkari Tupri Para Parmahi Mata Kumari Tase. My humble pranams to all the discerning divine friends. I am grateful to International Institute of Vedic Science for providing me this opportunity to share my humble journey of Kashmir Shaivism. In fact, I have a deep spiritual connection with Gadadhar ji. If I remember, since more than 15 years, we have been witnessing a spiritual evolution, and both of us have made our humble contribution. Today I am privileged because I have a very special discerning scholars as my audience. Normally, friends ask me, how many there are Shaivisms? What is Kashmir Shaivism? So let us discuss first the perspective of the Kashmir Shaivism tradition. In fact, we can broadly categorize Shaiva philosophy in 4 categories in India. There are subcategories also, there are many categories, but let me broadly classify Shaiva Agamas and other traditions. So among four categories, first let me speak about Shaiva Siddhanta of Tamil Nadu. It is a very old dualistic tradition, a tantric tradition of Shaivism. It is very close to Kashmir Shaivism itself. In fact, it's based on that life of 42 Mars, and Tamil Nadu had this great siddhas and great tradition of Shaiva Agamas. Second Shaivism is, we can call it Veer Shaiva or Lingayat of Karnataka, which was founded by King Baswappa, a great reformist movement, has own principles, and it also has very close links with the original Agamas of Kashmir Shaivism like Tantra Lok. Now, the Shaiva Agamas, Shaivism based on Vedanta, is very popularly the Shankaracharya's Advaita Shaivism, which is well known. Now, Shaivism based on Agamas, revelation or Tantra, is Kashmir Shaivism. In fact, there are other traditions also, like Pashuphat tradition is a dualistic Tantra tradition, Lugakshi, Pashuphat tradition, others will not go into details. So some friends are asking me, why Kashmir Shaivism? Why you call it Kashmir Shaivism? In fact, this is called Tirk Darshan or Pratibhigya Darshan. In none of the Granths, you will see that in a word like Kashmir Shaivism. Actually, Maharaja Pratap Singh invited one great Bengali scholar, Jagdish Chandra Chatterjee from Bengal. He compiled all the Granthas, did a great pioneering work, and got them printed in Bombay. So he named it as Kashmir Shaivism. And that's why it has this brand has gone all over the world. I have seen everywhere, all non-Indians, they are calling it Kashmir Shaivism worldwide. So it is very popular with the name of Kashmir Shaivism. Now, having said that, Shiv Puran says, Lord Shiva says, when there is decline of dharma, I do come in Avatari Purush just to take care of it, bring back dharma, bring back righteousness. They say, what happened when Kali Yuga started? And Kali Yuga scared all the siddhas because the righteous principles were not followed. They say all siddhas, they went into hiding. They went into hiding. What happens when they went into hiding? The ignorance will only spread. So Lord Shiva assumed the form of Shrikantanatha in Mount Kailash and initiated a very great sage, Durvasa Rishi, into Shaiva Agamas. Shaiva Agamas, Durvasa Rishi was initiated by Shrikantanatha. After initiating Durvasa Rishi, Shrikantanatha disappeared. Now this knowledge came to sage Durvasa Rishi. He was ordained to impart this knowledge to deserving people. They say he could not find any worthy people. So he created mind-born son called Trambakanath and initiated him in Shaiva Agamas. The beauty is how the initiation was done. It was done at the Pashanti level, mental level. That's why that was the system of initiating disciples. Trambakanath was initiated in Shaiva Agamas. Durvasa Rishi also created, it's very important, Trambakaditya, mind-born daughter, and initiated her in the Bhairav practices. Mostly Rahasya Kula practices are in this Durvasa Rishi initiated Trambakaditya. Now, this tradition, a very strange tradition, continued for 15 generations. Trambakanath again created a mind-born son called Trambakaditya, and then again he created mind-born son. That's how it continued. They said the 15th Guru, he was not very competent to create a mind-born son. Then he was advised to get married. and he got married, and then the parampara became father and son. Like this parampara continued. They say in this, there is a great saint of this parampara. His name was Sangamaditya. He settled in Kashmir. Then his generation was Ananda, and then Soananda. That was his. This was a father-son generation. How he came, this Kashmir Shaivism came to Kashmir. Now, second very important landmark of Kashmir Shaivism is 8th century sage Vasugupta. Sage Vasugupta was a very great, humble devotee of Lord Shiva. But that time in Kashmir, the royal patronage was due to one Nagabodhi, a Buddhist scholar. People would throng Nagabodhi. And people would tell Nagabodhi, oh sir, this is a great Shiva Bhakta, very great spiritual powers called Vasugupta. We are very impressed. He said, who can be better than me? Let us call him. So he was summoned with his little authority. They say Vasugupta was summoned. He was not allowed to talk, rather he was belittled. Vasugupta with his disciples came back sad, and he slept. He said, oh Lord Shiva, they did not listen to me. Why did I go there? They say Lord Shiva came in the dream. He said, go to Mahadev mountain, find Shiv Sutras and enlighten the world. That's why morning he went to Mahadev mountain. Mahadev mountain is in a very beautiful place. It's called, still it is in, I have visited about 10 years back. There's Muslims local call it a Shankarpal, the rock of Lord Shiva. Yes, he touched it, and Shiv Sutras were revealed to sage Vasugupta. What are Shiv Sutras? There are 3 chapters, 3 levels of realization, which I will explain. That's how it started. A revival from 8th century. This Vasugupta's disciple was then grand disciple, like that it continued. Another great saint was Acharya Utpal Dev. He wrote the doctrine of recognition. In fact, why I do describe the life of sages, because their life revealed the teaching, the lifestyle, and inspiration for all of us. They say Acharya Utpal Dev, he taught the doctrine of recognition, which is the main logic of Kashmir Shaivism. They say when he taught to few students, then his son told him, sir, why don't you make it a proper, compile it, the Granth, and tell us? I said, okay. Then he gave Pratibhigya Karika. When he narrated this, none of the disciples could understand. So, but out of respect, they did not say anything. His son got up. He said, sir, you have spread motis, you have spread diamonds, but we are not mentally equipped to understand it. Please explain it further. Then he gave a commentary, Marshini, on his own philosophy, Utpal Deva. And it is very interesting. Why I want to tell it? Kashmir Shaivism represents extreme bhakti, extreme knowledge, extreme humility. Everything is there in Kashmir Shaivism. And this doctrine of recognition is tough philosophy, which goes about Atman, Buddhist logic, then Vedic logic, then countering the logic. And people expected that he will talk about logic. How did he introduce the book? But Acharya Utpal said, how he introduced the book, this Katham Chit Maheshwari Dasya Bhavasya. I don't know how, without reason or of any reason or logic, Lord Shiva accepted me as his das, as his servant. And because of that das bhavana, this knowledge has come to enlighten the world. So the point is, supreme bhakti and supreme knowledge is in Kashmir Shaivism. Then he had disciple was Lakshman Gupta, and Lakshman Gupta disciple was great Acharya Abhinav Gupta. He was a incarnation of Lord Shiva. He contributed greatly in all the tantras. Every knowledge he had a research, he compiled in his granth called Tantra Loka. And he was not only master of spirituality, he was master of dance, music, logic, everything was together. In fact, if there is a student of dance, they will read in graduation Bharat Muni's Natya Shastra. But if you do master's degree in dance, then you read Abhinav Bharati, Abhinav's commentary on Natya Shastra. Similarly, Anand Vardhan's Dhani Loka, he did a commentary on that, which is very on this logic. Dhani Lokalochana. This is commentary on Anand Vardhan Dhani Loka. And Abhinavgupta had it was a Ashirvad of knowledge. And what I want to mention, his guru was Shambhunatha. Abhinavgupta writes about his great gurus, but his guru was a Shambhunatha. He was a Kaula Parampara guru. Abhinavgupta says that after reading so much, what happens? This one look of Shambhunatha can transform you. This extreme divine grace. This is Shambhunatha, Siddhanatha, Jagat Udara. So these are lineage of masters. Then his Shishya was Khemaraja. And in modern time, this was revived in 19th century. There was a great mystic, Swami Ram. His grand disciple was Swami Lakshmanju. Swami Lakshmanju did a great work in propagating Kashmir Shaivism. In fact, mostly Western scholars, they will, all the knowledge, they will meticulously come, and he would give them separate time also. And he has commented on every great aspect of Kashmir Shaivism. So we are greatly grateful to Swami Lakshmanju. Now, what is Kashmir Shaivism? Kashmir Shaivism is a universal spiritual philosophy. It focuses on the supreme unity of the self with the God. It expects all the aspects of life in totality and teaches the path of realization by divine grace. So there are 4 aspects of Kashmir Shaivism. We'll try to elaborate some further. One is a universal spiritual philosophy. Beyond cause, creed, color, anybody can adopt it. Secondly, it teaches supreme unity of the self with the God. That means you are absolutely part of the divine. You are not at all separate from the God. Then third, it teaches diversity. You accept everything is divine. Our job, this, good, bad, everything is divine. There's God in everybody. So diversity is a creation of divine. Diversity is divine. And fourth, it tells how you can get divine grace, how you can get realization only by divine grace. I will expand it further also. In fact, Rabindranath Tagore says about Kashmir Shaivism that Kashmir Shaivism has penetrated to that depth of living thought where diverse currents of human wisdom unite in a luminous synthesis. In fact, the great Swami Sarvapriyananda of Ramakrishna Mission, it's a very nice YouTube, people can see how to get realization. He says, Vedanta, we must continue effort. If not in this Janma, they will say, Master will say, okay, good luck in the next Janma. But there is a philosophy called Kashmir Shaivism that offers you something in this very Janma also. I mean, it can give you level. If you are not competent for one level, you can go down to the second level. Now, Kashmir Shaivism, it's called householder's religion. It speaks of the total positivity. It accepts life as you are. You have to live in the world and be a divine seeker. And Kashmir Shaivism basically postulates an ultimate reality called Param Shiva. It is a basic, central, ultimate reality who is the nature of bliss and complete in himself. So the first reality is Param Shiva. It is a universal consciousness. You can call it any name. We can call it, because that's the fundamental reality. Everything emanates from Param Shiva, goes back to Param Shiva. Now, Param Shiva, the divine consciousness, has got 2 parts, Prakasha and Vimarsha. Prakasha and Vimarsha. We call it light and consciousness. That is Shiv and Shakti. Shiv is the consciousness. Shakti is the tool of experiencing it. So Shakti creates the manifestation. So here what happens? We just focus on the journey from the godhood to the human level. The first teaching of which I want to focus is a descent from godhood to the human level, which we call 36 Tatwas. So Param Shiva creates these 36 Tatwas as a process of in evolution from godhood to the human level, so that the play of world must go on, so that this play of world must get manifested. So out of this 36 tattvas, first there are 5 pure tattvas. 5 pure tattvas. So Shiv is the first tattva, is the consciousness. Shakti is the Vimarshini, the experiencing power of Shiva is Shakti. They say Shiv and Shakti both are one. Shakti is the experiencing power. And how she experiences? First, pure, 3 tattvas are there called supreme will, supreme knowledge, and supreme action. That's called technically Sadashiv Tattva, Ishwar Tattva, and Shuddha Vidya Tattva. The first tattva is experience, as me experience. That's called Sadashiv Tattva. And next tattva is Ishwar Tattva. That's called supreme knowledge. And third tattva is supreme action. That's called Shuddha Vidya Tattva. These are 5 tattvas called pure tattvas created by Lord Shiva. Then Lord Shiva, what does? Lord Shiva creates the wheeling power. The purpose of whole thing of telling you is this: it's a descent from God to the human level. The wheeling power. Wheeling power means from all knowledgeable to limited knowledge. So he creates through 5 coverings called panchakas. That's called Kala, the limitation of time. I am here in this end of September. I'm not in last year. So there's a limitation of time. The Vidya, I know this much. I don't know everything. The Raga, he's my son. He's not my everybody. Everybody is not my son. Kala, authorship. I can do this. I cannot do everything. The Niti, limitation of place. I am in Delhi. I'm not in Bangalore or in America. So these are the coverings of Maya. So Lord Shiva, this also is created by divine, so that the play of world must run. Then comes the Tattva Purusha. Purusha is the Maya plus Lord Shiva. The limited being is Purusha. The limited manifestation is Prakriti. Shakti plus Maya becomes Prakriti. Then this manifestation continues with Buddhi, Ahankar, and Manas. Buddhi is ascertaining intelligence. He is my friend, internal, or this is Jar, external. And Ahankara is the I principle, which is very important in Kashmir Shaivism. It is Ahankara creates everything. Second is Manas, is the mind. Mind is the product of Ahankara. Then we have got, we call it sense perceptions, Jnanindriyas, smelling, tasting, seeing, feeling, and hearing. Then we have got powers of action, speaking, handling, locomotion, exerting, and restfulness. Then we have got 5 elements of perception: sound, touch, color, flavor, and odor. Then last, there are 5 Panch Mahabhutas. That is ether, how we descend from subtle to gross. Ether, Vayu, Agni, Jal, and Prithvi. And which is very important, always subtle is always more powerful than the gross. On Prithvi, there is Jal. Jal is water. Jal can, disperse Prithvi. And beyond Jal is Agni. Agni can dry the Jal. And beyond Agni is Vayu, the wind. It can blow up the Agni. And beyond that is ether. Everything stands on that. So these are all called 36 manifestations. So purpose is, it's a descent from God to the human level. Now, here I want to understand that everything is divine. Why I said a Maya and 5 coverings, that divine life and worldly life is nothing but same. It is only ignorance. We think it is separate. Everything is same. Now, the question is, how can we get the divine realization? Now, so far we talk of in evolution, descent from Param Shiva creates 36 tattvas, from Shiv tattva to Prithvi tattva. That will descend from God to the human level. Now, point is we have to go back to progress, back to the God level, back to the divine. How can we go back to the divine? How can we reach our destination? Is it by any particular puja, anybody particular prayer? Please remember this. We can only go back to divine by Shaktipat, by his grace, by his Anukampa. His grace only can take us back to the Godhood. And this Shaktipat, this grace is independent of human effort. Grace can come on anybody whom he chooses. Now, then what can we do? What we human levels, what human beings we can do? We human beings can do, we can do prayas, we can do effort to be worthy of his grace. Here, Acharya Abhinagut explains that grace is in everybody. That nobody can exist without grace. The only question is, in some case, there is less grace, some have more grace, some have higher grace, some have got extreme grace. They are born with extreme grace, which we call Tiratam Shaktipat. So when you are born with extreme grace, you don't need to do any effort. You are already blessed. No, like great personalities, great sages, they are born with extreme grace. But then what about the rest? So though although this our effort, the prayas is therefore described in the 4 categories. When there is extreme grace, we call it Anupai. Now below that is, we call it higher grace, that is Shambhopai, and medium grace, it's called energy of contemplation, it's called Shaktopai, and the last is called the inferior means, Anupai, the effort of bounded souls who are in the Kali Yuga. In fact, Shiv Sutra addresses the 3, that's why 3 levels, because Anupai, nothing has to be done. Shiv Sutra addresses the higher grace, the realm of will, energy of will, that's called Shambhopaya. And below that is energy of contemplation, energy of knowledge, it's called Shaktopaya. And below that is energy of action called Anupaya. So these are the 3 levels, 3 levels of awakening. So that, in fact, what is very important, I tell my friends, please do whatever rituals you are doing, do puja, part, but be aware at what level you are in, so that you can always progress to the higher level. Now, describing them. Shambhopaya is the higher level of realization. In Shambhopaya, you are in thoughtless, desireless state. You are in the higher level. When you have reached your destination, that is Shambhopaya. Now, below Shambhopaya is Shaktopaya. Shaktopaya is a level of contemplation. All action end here. Shambhopaya is when you are only focused, you are only as a contemplar, you only think of the destination. That is Shaktopaya. And below that is Anupaya. What Anupaya is the realm of action. So all prayer, meditation, charity, mantra, everything comes under Anupaya. So what should be our effort? We must progress from Anupaya to Shaktopaya. How can we progress? Please focus on go antarmukhi from bahirmukhi, from the field of action, go within yourself. Like deep silence, automatic meditation, when you invoke your inner prana shakti, when all action ceases, the Shaktopaya begins. Shaktopaya begins in the inner energy, in fact, awakening of central channel, all is part of Shaktopaya Kriya. And what happens when you are very much progressing in Shaktopaya with the grace of the Master, grace of Lord Shiva, you go in the higher level, that is called Shambhopaya, when you become thoughtless and desireless. I will further touch it further. So these are three awakenings. One should be absolutely aware of it. Now, very important features of Kashmir Shaivism, I call it, this is also I want to share now. It's called principle of three malas, four stages in the manifestation of speech, and five great acts of Lord Shiva, which is also very, for the common lecture, I want people to understand this. What are the three malas? Three malas are the three impurities, three level of ignorance, which is also divine, created by Lord Shiva to run the Maya, run the play of world. So beautifully, what are these three levels? First is called anomal. First ignorance, innate ignorance. What happens in the anomal? They say a jiva is with Lord Shiva. He's under the grace of Lord Shiva. He's enjoying the glory of Lord Shiva. He's with the Lord Shiva jiva. But then he gets a curiosity. Jiva gets a curiosity of what is going on outside Lord Shiva. What is going on out? Let me see outside without any purpose, just a curiosity. This curiosity is called anomal, the first weakness, the first doubt. They say then anomal leads to mayamal. Mayamal means the limitations, as I described, the five kanchikas, limitations of knowledge, of presence, of time. In fact, this calm, krodh, lobh, moh, ahankar also is a product of mayamal. The inner limitations of our feelings, it is mayamal. And then mayamal leads to karamal. What is karamal? Is committed action. The external side is called karamal. He is my happy enemy, pass, work hard, work less, achieve this. There is success, there is failure, there is this thing. And they say, when one leaves the body, one is born with the samskara of karamal. That is why in Shaiva Agamas, we always say, go out of karamal, because Lord, please remember, Lord Shiva is a doer, Lord Shiva is enjoyer. How you can come out of karamal? Don't be attached to any karma. You are doing the duty of Lord Shiva. Be in the bliss. Lord Shiva is a doer, Lord Shiva is enjoyer. I say our condition is we are traveling in a train. We are carrying a box on our head. We think we are carrying it. Actually, train is carrying. So we think we are doing the karma. We are the doers. We get in trouble. We get in happiness and sorrow because we think we are the doers. And Lord Shiva is the doer. In fact, I say if you go to a saint's life or even any noble person, he will never be moved by sadness, nor will be moved by joy also. Say, okay, divine will. So once we leave it to Lord Shiva, we can come out of karamal. Now the maya mal is a subtle impurity. We are born with the samskara of these things, and we do suffer for the maya mal. These vasanas attract us and create this thing. Now, this anomaly is a very subtle impurity. They say even great sages and saints cannot escape anomal. Like sage Vishwamitra. Anomal is a very, very, I'll give you an example. Suppose you praise me. You praise me, I am a scholar, great man. I think people are praising me. I must have some merit. But Lord Shiva has created me and other fellow also. So sometimes big saints also fail in their duties because of anomal also. Lord Shiva says, let me have fun with you also. So Acharya Prabhupada says, to get rid of anomal, only Sharanagatam, surrender to Lord Shiva only can save you from the anomal. Now coming back, I want you to link up the first 5 sutras of Shambhopai, the first awakening of Shiv Sutra with these malas. The first sutra of Shambhopai is Chaitanyam Atma. The supreme consciousness is the reality of everything. It's a very, very, in fact, the entire summary of Shiv Sutra is only this Chaitanyam Atma. The Atma, the soul, is a part of the universal soul. Chaitanyam, universal consciousness, which is light and experience, which is ultimate reality. Now what happens? Second shloka is Jnanam Manda, knowledge, the bondage. What is the knowledge, the bondage? That I am not the part of universal consciousness. This knowledge that I am little away from the Lord Shiva, that which I mentioned, the ignorance, first ignorance, it is the anomala. Jnanam Manda. The third shloka of Shu Sutra is Yoni Varga Kala Shariram. I only create from the womb of Maya, that 5 coverings. I only create, Lord Shiva says, I only create Maya Mal. Is also created by me. Kala Shariram. I only create this Karamal also is created by me, Lord Shiva says. And the 4th shloka is Jnana, Drishtana, Matrika. The mother goddess controls all these malas, are under the control of mother goddess. She remains hidden and unrealized. Why she remains hidden and unrealized is because the play of world must go on. That's why she remains hidden and unrealized. But what happens when she's realized? Is come with the 5th shloka, Uddham ho Bhairava. Then when Bhairav does the Uddhyam, when Lord Shiva's grace, Uddhyam by the Bhairav, not by our effort. With Lord Shiva's Uddhyam, Lord Shiva's grace, all the 3 malas are destroyed in a flash. All the 3 malas are destroyed when by his grace only. But this also is a mantra, Uddhamo Bhairava. This is a beautiful 1st chapter of Shu Sutra Shambhopa, which is a realm of will only. Of higher seekers, they reach the Shambhopa stage. We just discuss in meditation a lot of things. We discuss about it. So this is called the principle of 3 malas. In fact, what happens in Shambhopa afterwards, the 13th shloka says, Ichha Shakti Uma Kumari, for a realized soul who has overcome all the malas and all the dualities. What happens? His will, Ichha, his will itself is Uma Kumari, the potent energy of Lord Shiva. Whatever he says happens. That's the beauty of this Shambhopa 13 shlokas. We reach that level. Now coming back, I have described, there are very, very important things in learning the samsara. Learning the samsara through Shaiva Agamas. I said about 3 malas. Now coming to 4 stages in the manifestation of speech. There are 4 stages, namely Para, Pashanti, Madhyama, and Vaikhari. These are the 4 stages in our sadhana, in the manifestation. It is a core of sadhana, this shloka. Because what is Vaikhari? Vaikhari is a spoken language, uttered speech. It is the manifestation. Vaikhari is the outer manifestation. It's an utter speech. I tell something. In fact, it can be speech. It can be even a painting. That is also Vaikhari. Then before Vaikhari, there's mental speech. I make different ideas. Now, right now, I have to give a speech on Shaiva Agamas and introductory speech. Whatever I have made clear ideas, whatever I talk. This is called Madhyama, mental speech. They say in our japa also, Madhyama is always powerful than the Vaikhari. In fact, beside mentally, Om Namah Shivaya is more effective. And before Madhyama comes Pashanti, that's the beholding speech, that is a vision, that is a stare. That means I have to say something, I have to create some painting, I have to do some sadhana, the grace, the vibration, that is Pashanti. So Pashanti leads to Madhyama, Madhyama leads to Vaikhari, and higher states focus from Vaikhari to Madhyama, Madhyama to Pashanti. Pashanti can be ajapa jap, when things happen automatically. Pashanti is, they say, the great ancient saints, Durvasa, they would teach through Pashanti. They will, from my mental level to your mental level, highest level. So in our sadhana also, we should be focused on the higher side of realization. The great mantras should be recited at the Pashanti level. Let it happen automatically to you. And before Pashanti is Para. Para is the supreme speech. Para is the mother of every speech. Para is the ultimate reality. We is beyond our this thing, from which emanates everything. The highest sadhakas will go to the Para level. So it is very important, these 4 levels of manifestation of speech, namely Para, Pashanti, Madhyama, and Vaikhari. Now, third aspect I mentioned. First, I said 3 malas, 3 ignorances, basic ignorances, 4 stages in the manifest of speech, para, pashanti, madhyama, vaikni, and 5 great acts of Lord Shiva called Panchkrit. 5 great acts of Lord Shiva to run the play of world. Every time it goes on, so Jagat, the world runs with the energies of these 5 great acts of Lord Shiva. What are these 5 great acts of Lord Shiva? We are aware of 3 acts: creation, sustenance, and dissolution. 3 acts. They say Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. In Shaiva Agamas, we focus it. Actually, creation is nothing but it is an emanation. Nothing gets created. It is Lord Shiva's, please remember my word, supreme unity of the self with the God. Lord Shiva emanates himself. It's an emanation. His own form. Then there is sustenance. Then it is not destruction. If my Vedantic scholar said it's a disappearance. Here we call it it's a withdrawal. He withdraws his own form. Creation, sustenance, disappearance. We call it emanation, sustenance, and withdrawal. Now, when everything does the God, then how human beings are involved. So Lord Shiva does 2 further acts. What are those acts? Vilay and Anugrah. Wheeling power and revealing power of Lord Shiva. So when Lord Shiva does wheeling power, I call it Lord Shiva goes behind the curtains. When Lord Shiva goes behind the curtains, we get everything, everybody is Lord Shiva, but it is only because of the wheeling power of Lord Shiva, we see the differences. One becomes many, and we get indulged in many, many worldly things. All the worldly things are because of the kriya of wheeling power of Lord Shiva. He is my friend, this is my mission, that is done, this, that. From unity to diversity is because of the wheeling power of Lord Shiva. Then we say, oh, when Lord Shiva goes behind the curtains, somebody will say Lord Shiva goes in the prison. Who can take out Lord Shiva behind the wheels? Who else but Lord Shiva himself will come out of those curtains? So the 5th Krit is Anugrah, bestowing the grace. The realization also is given by the Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva does emanation, sustenance, withdrawal, then revealing, and the revealing act of Lord Shiva. In fact, we can give it let me talk in a little materialistic way, this thing. Say I go to a great restaurant for my lunch. I go to great restaurant for my lunch. I enjoy my lunch. What happens? We can call it creation. I go to my restaurant for a lunch, and enjoyment of lunch is sustenance, enjoying the lunch, beautiful. Then, okay, I leave the place, go back, withdrawal. It is finished. Then I think of the beautiful dishes and other things of the lunch, nice lunch I had, that vasanas, that is nothing but the wheeling power of Lord Shiva. Then I realize that, okay, that's also great. Let us forget about it. It's also blessing of Lord. Something else, that is the grace. That is a revealing act of Lord Shiva. This is also very important factors. Now, having said this, what is my basic focus is on the sadhana, how we go in the sadhana. Before one goes to sadhana, one should be aware of at what level of realization he is, which I described in Shiv Sutra. Is he of Kriya lower level, Anubhai? I request, let him try to go to Shaktapai, level of contemplation, because grace flows much faster in Shaktapai than great sadhana, one will get in the Shambhopai stage, higher stage. So there's a beautiful blessing of Lord Shiva, dialogue between Lord Shiva and Mata Parvati, when Mata Parvati asked Lord Shiva many questions. What is the nature? What is Para Pashanti? What is mysterious power of chakras? Many, many questions Lord Shiva tells. Mata Parvati inquires from the Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva answers. Then he said, oh, lotus-eyed, now let me reveal to you 112 techniques of God realization. These are 112 techniques called Vijnana Bhairav or Vijnana Bhairav Tantra, 112 dharnas, 112 techniques of God realization. These are subtle, these are interior, these are mysterious, and in fact, great worldly spiritual traditions have taken these techniques from Vijnana Bhairav. In fact, the Buddhist techniques of Vajrayana is based on first, second, and third dharna of Vijnana Bhairav. So this is the greatest, ultimate spiritual gift given by Lord Shiva to us. So for my friends, my point is, let us do some sadhana, do practice. Let you all be your own judge, your own guide, your own seekers. For practice, normally we do for a beginner, at least we have 3 levels of focus. First is Shu Samavesha. Second is Shuddh Vikalp. And third is energy of prana. Because you can do it. So we'll just discuss about this, because meditation also is very important. Shiv Samavesha, that we should be charged with Shivahood. That's why we always say that please leave your all worries aside when you are part of Lord Shiva. Please remember you are part of Lord Shiva. You are nobody less. And we say, enter Shiv Samavesha. Please imbibe humility, love, and compassion. Let these be your nature. Let these be, you can't be anything other than that. And then have faith in yourself. Have 100% faith in yourself. If you cannot have faith in yourself, you can't have faith in others. Then love yourself, because Lord Shiva is within you. You must love yourself. 100% you must love yourself. And 100% be positive. What will be done? Divine ways are always perfect. What will happen tomorrow? It will be always positive. Because it will be with the will of Lord Shiva. And therefore, Lord Shiva is the doer, Lord Shiva is the enjoyer. This is basically the jhana. You must know that before you sit on meditation, people say that Shu ban ke hi Shu ki puja karo. Be Lord Shiva and do the worship of Lord Shiva. Of course, we may not be reach the level of Lord Shiva, but this should be our focus, so that we are totally part of the divinity. That is the first thing I will tell my meditation seekers for the meditation. The second is Shuddh Vikalp, because mind has a quality. Mind has a quality of Vikalpa. Vikalp is thought construct, because mind will always be busy in imagination. That is the property of mind. Now, suppose we try to control the mind, be firm, and don't think of anything else, or that is not going to help, because it will bounce back. Thought process will continue further and further. You cannot control the mind. So what we should do, from Vikalp, thought construct, make it Shuddh Vikalp, pure thought construct. How we do it? We say you engage in something goodful thing, engage in a good mantra. You can say Jai Shri Krishna, in Om Namah Shivaya, anything which is dear to you. You are familiar with that mantra, recite that mantra. How you will recite it? If you are a little bit at lower level of this thing, you can even clap that Om Namah Shivaya. You can even say loudly Om Namah Shivaya, so that your mind should get focused on Om Namah Shivaya. Mind should get focused on Om Namah Shivaya. And when that happens, then we say, now close your eyes and internally chant Om Namah Shivaya, because by the time the mind we have changed the direction of mind. The mind is focused towards Om Namah Shivaya. So it has become Shuddh Vikalp. Basically, Shuddh Vikalp leads to Nirvikalp, thought construct. That is very important, so that for our sadhana. And we do always say that when you close your eyes, Om Namah Shivaya, focus on Om Namah Shivaya, focus on the junction point. After one Om Namah Shivaya, there's a gap. Focus on the gap also, energy level. And then before the next Om Namah Shivaya starts, 100% your mind will be focused in Shuddh Vikalp. This is a very, very practical and process of changing the direction of her mind, make it Shuddh Vikalp. And this contemplation on the center point between one Om Namah Shivaya and other Om Namah Shivaya, it will totally make you create Nirvikalp stage. And then we could talk of the energy of prana. We talk of energy of prana. That is, then after this, next step is focus on our breath, which we here use the help of Vijnana Bhairav Tantra. We use the normally first dharana, that means watch your breath. Soham Hamsa. Breath starts, and this is called, they say, the breath, the journey is also the divine power. Then we focus on when we, between prana, apana, between two breaths, the gap may be in outer space and in the region of heart. This is how we do it in meditation. Just I want to guide you. People can try. You can always, of course, contact me for further guidance, so that at least these, when we try to physically focus on the junction point, then we say that don't do action, just imagine these focus points. That helps us. Prana takes further progress. The prana goes to central channel Sushmana, and divine bliss is revealed. Now, so my request to divine friends is find your own divine nature, because everything is within you. And you can be a great seekers. And before I conclude, we always bow to the Param Shaive Yogini Lalleshwari, the mystic, that's my first inspiration. In her own way, she has conveyed the teaching of Shaiva Agamas. In fact, Lalleshwari was a 14th century Shaiva Yogini of Kashmir. She was a ordinary village girl. She had the greatest torture. She was married. She had a stepmother-in-law who used to torture her. Then Lord Shiva revealed to her, and she became a wandering monk. And she has fascinated many, many great thinkers and great logicians. And her very popular saying is, "You are the sky, you are the earth, you are the day, the very air, the night. You are the grain offering, sandal paste, flower and water too. You are everything, oh Lord. So what we can offer you?" So with bringing my obeisance to Mata Lalleshwari, so my pranams to you. And any question, you can contact me on my WhatsApp also for guidances. Kindly note down, my WhatsApp number is 9818211796. Pranam, Om Namah Shivaya.
Thank you, Virendra ji, for the great talk. I don't think we have any questions, but I wanted to ask like one question. You gave a very great summary of Shaivism, and you gave like a good overview, especially for people who are probably not aware of it, and including me to a large extent. It's a good summary of like everything, just a glimpse of everything, so we can go explore further. Are there any books or anything you would suggest to sort of understand more about Kashmir Shaivism? Anything you would suggest?
Very good. Thank you for this question. Very important. Because my only humble submission is, Bodhji, that any book written by sadhak is only welcome. A man who has done a sadhana, please read his book only. Otherwise, today it's very easy to write books.
Right.
So, in fact, common friends, I said, I have one 15-page article on Kashmir Shaivism. They can email me and I can send them the article. Now, for reading, I suggest, I can give a list also, but there's a Swami Lakshmanju's books I strongly recommend. And then I recommend, there's one Dr. Baldinath Pandit, his books on Kashmir Shaivism. These two authors I strongly recommend. And I'll tell my friends, just get small book. In fact, I can send through download also. The Secret Supreme, Kashmir Shaivism, The Secret Supreme, these are all available in market. by Swami Lakshmanju. These are all in summary this is. And then, of course, one should read on a book to get systematic knowledge. Para Praveshka, Shiv Sutra, Prithvigya Hadiyam, Vigyan Barrow. Their authors, I'll be giving all the list and details. But very important, books from those sadhana. Sadhak is very important. Recommend from saints. That will only take us to this level.
Got it. One more question. I mean, you talked about Vijnana Bhairav. Is it primarily about different techniques for realization, or because it had the term Vignan in there, so I was more curious on what all does it cover?
Science.
Yeah.
So Vigyan Bhairav, as I mentioned, it's a dialogue between Lord Shiva and Parvati. As I mentioned, Shiva and Parvati asked about question, nature, Maya, Prana, many things she asked. Then she said, because Lord Parvati, Mata Parvati said, oh Lord Shiva had some doubts. So Lord Shiva explains. Then he said, now I will give you 112 techniques of God realization.
Got it.
Subtle, these are mystic, these are totally internal, these are beyond rituals. In fact, today there's a big praise about Vijnana Bhairav, every worldwide they say. But my point is, please only learn from a seeker who has done some sadhana, learn Vijnana Bhairav. Otherwise, I will not recommend. What my point? So I'll be very happy you ask this question. I do conduct practice also. Dharana 1, maybe we'll have some program also, and that separately we can on Vijnana Bhairav. Dharana 1, Dharana 4, and Dharana 2, I conclude with this thing. And very interesting. I don't know whether you or my friend can follow this. There's a very strange dharana of Vijnana Bhairav. Before one reads Vijnana Bhairav, very important, one should have knowledge of Shiv Sutra.
Got it.
Because otherwise, you will go, hitting the ball without knowing the destination.
Right.
Your destination should be Anupai, Shaktapai, Shambhopai. Anupai means you are in Kriya, Puja, Part, meditation, I do this thing, I do that mantra. All is under the lower Kriya mark, inferior means we call it.
Right.
From that you have to go to progress second Shaktapai, internal.
Right.
And that internal will automatically lead you to the higher Shambhopai. Now what happens just is mere will. Now it's a very interesting thing. You please tell me, have you followed or not followed? It's very important. Now I have my friends. I am here. I will bring a rose, like this a rose.
Mm-hmm.
Or this a pen. I'll say, what is this? There are 3 stages. What is this? The first inquiry, curiosity.
Right.
This is pen, knowledge, it's a Shaktapai. You can say, give me the pen, Anupai, the Kriya action.
Right.
I'll say, what is this? If you are a higher seeker, if you are in a higher level of meditation, you don't go beyond Ichha. Don't go beyond this basic curiosity. You focus on the curiosity only.
Got it.
You go focus the curiosity, your divine self will be revealed. Your inner self will be revealed. Because in fact, when Swamiji explained, they say he was with his guru. In a very humble way, in a gathering, they wanted to honor Guru. Very simple. There were no sofas, on the carpet or something, you'll sit and give Guru a proper place. And he was served nice some snacks. Then a young girl, beautiful girl came with a traditional tea, we call it kahwa. She offered to his Guru. And this Swamiji said he was with his Guru. And when Guru looked at her and he went to Samadhi. He went to Samadhi for 15 minutes. They said, we were watching the Guru, Samadhi, and the tea also got cold. And nobody could take the tea. First, Guru has to take the tea.
Right.
They were watching for 15 minutes. They say, okay. Then Guru told us, what happened? He says, sir, Guru said that when this girl came, I got the best opportunity of this dharana.
Mm.
Look, don't go beyond that. Don't go beyond the first level chart. That initial curiosity. Focus on that. Your divine self will reveal. You will go into Samadhi.
Got it.
World is a fantastic thing, Vijnana Bhairav. It is a sure short path of realizing God. But I only want, it should be properly
Got it.
taught.
Yeah. One more curious question. I mean, you mentioned about Veera Shaivism and other Shaivisms, right? What are the key differences between these things, like compared to Kashmir Shaivism? Anything you would?
Why not? So, and all questions, I'll be very happy. Sir, let me take like this. Shaivism based on Vedanta, Adiguru Shankaracharya. Is Vedantic Shaivism okay?
Sure.
Shaivism based on Agamas, Tantra, is Kashmir Shaivism.
Sure.
In Agamas also there are Kashmir Shaivism called the subtlest Tantra because it only addresses Moksha Marga. But there are other things also, dualistic Tantra. Netra Tantra is dualistic Tantra. Lukakshi Tantra is a dualistic Tantra, Pushu and Parmeshwar. There are traditions. Now, two I have said. Third, I have said is very important is Shaiva Siddhanta, very old tradition. You know, Boginatha Swami, these are the Siddhas in Tamil Nadu.
Mm-hmm.
They are based on the life of 42 nine Mars, 42 great saints. Then Shikari was this and he got realization. You know, this life of 42 nine Mars. It's also very old. It also teaches 36 Tatwas, like I said about 36, descent from God to divine. Only thing it says, Pashu and Pati. Parmeshwar is the Pati and we are Pashu. By his grace, we can get real. That is a basic difference. Dualistic Tantra, we have gone beyond that. And Veer Shaivism, modern Shaivism, it was King Baswappa. He, you know, the Brahmanas or rituals, he said, go beyond rituals and seek the divine, Lord Shiva's grace. He created Baswa 6 vachanas, 6 basic principles. And they also have called Lingodar. It's close to the Tantra Lok, Lingodar, Diksha, vagara. So it's a reformist Shaivism. They call Baswas and this. They are the very, very important, you know, Masma. They are doing great charity work also.
Got it. Got it. So I would like to thank you, Virendraji, on behalf of International Institute of Vedic Sciences, for an enlightening talk on the
most welcome. I want to share it more and more.
Yeah. And it was a great summary covering, as I was saying, like all aspects of Shaivism in brief. I mean, at least for a lot of people who have not been exposed, I think it's a good summary so they can get a sense of like everything. And then anybody wanting to explore more, they could definitely take it forward. I'm sure our audience has enjoyed this essence that you have just shared with us. We would like to thank all the audience who has joined us live on the Rishivadiya YouTube channel and request everyone to subscribe to the channel for the latest updates in this lecture series. Thank you once again.